With that being said, we've got two versions of ENGLink. The version, now this is our training server. Let me show you what the real thing looks like. I'm sure y'all have seen this already, but the ENGLink Pro is what we call it. It's loading right now. It has a purple banner around it. It's loading. Okay, so this is ENGLink Pro, and you'll notice it has a purple banner. We also have a version called ENGLink Plus. We call them ePro and E Plus. All right, so this is ENGLink Plus. And just to make this really simple, really one of the main reasons you're going to come to ENGLink Plus is to update your personal data sheet. That's really the main reason that many of you will ever come to ENGLink Plus. And so while we're on Plus, you'll see I've got some links across the top here. You may not have all those links, but you will have a few of these. One of those will be your name. And this is where you come to update your personal data sheet. I would definitely highly recommend everybody go through their personal data sheet and just start at the top and work your way through it and put in as much data as you think is reasonable. You don't have to fill in every single field. But when you're especially looking at your first tab, the personal tab, make sure your name is in there. Make sure your email address is correct. It should be. What we're doing now with ENGLink is built using Microsoft Dynamics. And we also have it linked to Active Directory, which is also in charge of the email for the core and all that kind of good stuff. And what that means to you is that when you log into your computer in the mornings with your CAC, you're also logged into ENGLink. You notice I didn't have to put in any kind of password or anything. You may sometimes be prompted to input your email address. That would be your Corps of Engineers email address. And we do also highly recommend using Google Chrome. It seems to work best in Google Chrome. You can use Microsoft Edge. It doesn't really work very well in Firefox, and we don't have to worry about Internet Explorer anymore. But I definitely recommend, if you come to this ENGLink Plus page, like if you're trying to come to ENGLink Plus and it does not look like this, then that's a problem. You probably are lacking a license, and you need to let us know, and we'll send you some instructions on how to get that license. It's a free license. The CIO, G6 corporate information, they are the overseers of our licenses, and that's one of the drawbacks with using ENGLink now is when we built this thing, you know, Bill Gates is not one of the richest men in the world for no reason. He realized that in the world of software development, if you build something once and then you sell it, well, you're only going to get paid one time. So he says, you know, I need a way to keep money coming in. So he charges licensing fees for people to use their software. And so being that this is Microsoft software, we also have to pay licensing. So we had to make some hard decisions. There's 37,000 plus employees in the Corps of Engineers, and what we knew going in that we were not going to buy 37,000 licenses. That just was financially not feasible. And so we had to go into our system, and we looked back 3 years, I think 3 to 4 years, in some of the probably the highest usage times of ENGLink with Maria and Harvey and several of those hurricanes that were going on during those times. And we looked at our peak usage to determine how many people were actually logging in and using ENGLink. And we kind of drew a line in the sand. We said, okay, well, there's that many people. I think it was somewhere between 4,000 and 7,000. So we did not import 37,000 accounts into our server. And so that means that some of you did get left behind, and not intentionally. It was just a business decision we had to make. And it's very, very easily to overcome that, but you're going to have to send us an email, and we'll send you a response with some instructions that you can follow to get the license, and that will give you an account. And then you'll be able to access ENGLink Plus, and it will look like this. Okay, that understood? Okay. There's also another license. That license is called the PAPA license, P-A-P-A. That's power apps per app. That's Microsoft terminology. And don't know what that means, but that's what it's called. We call it the PAPA license. And that's a general license. There's also another license called Field Services, which we reserve only for our emergency management staff. And that license, the PAPA license is, I don't know, just to throw out a number, let's say it's $20 a person per year. I don't know, that may be too low, too high, I'm not sure what it is. But the field services license is about 3 times that amount. And so we had to be much more scrutinizing with our field services license. So we reserve that only for our emergency managers. And what that gives you the ability to do as an EM is to actually put people on taskers, to nominate people on taskers. So if you've got people in your EOC that are permanent employees, we need to make sure they're added to your EOC, and they'll automatically get the field service license. That's not one they have to request. We assign it by putting them in the EOC. Also, during the course of a disaster, if you deploy people into your EOC and you give them an emergency manager duty description or a mission manager duty description, then they will also get that license. But that license is a 90-day license, meaning it's not going to last forever, but they will have that license for 90 days. And then once the 90 days is up, that license will just go away and go back into our reserves for to be assigned again. So a couple of ways you get it: by being in the EOC or being put on a tasker to work in the EOC. And you can do that. But it's a little bit different, but I don't think you're going to see a big difference really overall. And if there isn't, we'll make sure that that's not an issue for you guys. Okay, so back to this. So in ENGLink, you want to make sure you open your personal data sheet and at least go through you want to go through some of the main pages. Personal for sure is a page you need to update. Make sure all of this data is correct. You also need to indicate a primary method of contact. What I recommend is entering a business phone, and then down at the bottom of the page, you'll see an area for phone numbers. You can add your business phone. And if I choose that, if I say I want this to be primary, yes, you do. And then you're going to type business phone, and then you're going to put in your phone number. And then anywhere that your name is displayed, whether it's on a team or in a list of people where it lists phone numbers, that's the phone number that will be used. It doesn't have to be your actual business phone, but you're going to indicate to ENGLink that it is a business phone. As far as we know, it could be your cell phone, it could be your wife's phone, it could be your girlfriend's phone or your boyfriend's phone. Doesn't matter to us what number you use, but that's the number that's going to display for you. And you would just submit that. And then anywhere that your name and phone number gets displayed, that's the number that will be used. Any questions on that? Okay. Coming back to the top of this, you want to indicate also your gender, male or female. We have a lot of gender bender names in the Corps of Engineers. We have a lot of Kellys, a lot of Chris's, a lot of Stacy's. A lot of names that could easily be a male or a female, and we can't really tell by the name, but we need to know what your gender is. We're not trying to profile you by any means as a stretch imagination, but we do need to know when it comes to like putting you in lodging quarters, rooms, whatever, and if we have to share or combine people into a base camp or something, we're going to need to, separate that. Some people may not want to be separated, but I think probably most would be. But we want to keep males with males and females with females, and so that's why we need that. We don't really care about your eyes, your hair, your height, your weight. You're going to need to also put in your shirt size because we're going to need to get shirts to fit you, to outfit you. The white shirts, the red shirts, whatever it may be with the Corps insignia. And then you'll save that data. Any questions so far? Now, I'm not going to make this class all about the PDS, but there's some other tabs in here that you need to go through. One of those is the medical. Everybody that's planning on deploying this year, next year, or in the coming years needs to have a medical screening on file. You can see I've got one here. It's complete. This is what it's going to look like. If you haven't done one, you're going to have a Start a New MSP, Medical Screening Packet button. And you'll click that. And what it does, it will, see if I can get mine to display. It's going to have 3 sections on it. You'll choose either I'm going for an office clearance or a field clearance. The field clearance is more inclusive. If you have a field clearance, if you get deployed, you can go out into the field. If you're not field cleared, you have an office clearance, then you're going to be required to stay within the office. You can't go out in the field. You can, but that's just a risk that I don't think the Corps wants to undertake. And you'll have 3 sections of questions to go through. Now, what we have determined over the years of doing this is that there's a lot of people that are a lot younger than myself, that are in a lot better health than myself, and they can go through these questions and they answer all of the defaults, what we'd expect a healthy person to answer. And we have been for years doing medical screenings in ENGLink, and it was a good gig for the doctor because the doctor makes $50 for every screening that they review. They have a contracted agreement with the Corps, and they would make $50 for every medical they would review. If you talk 2,000 or 3,000 medical reviews a year, that doctor was doing okay. It was a pretty good gig. I thought about going down to the Caribbean and getting my doctor's degree for just a quick thing, and come back and set me up a shack with hang a sign on the door and review medical screenings. But I didn't, and so I'm still here. But anyway, if you are reasonably healthy and you go through and answer all the questions in a default manner, there is no review required. Your medical screening will be instantly approved and you'll be cleared for field. And you'll see that that's what mine looks like here, because I went through and said, oh, I'm a picture of health. And so when I did that, let me get back to it. Okay, it'll look like this. There's no reviewer required. It's complete, has a D, fully deployable, and you'll see it's good for 2 years. Well, not sure why. It's 2 or 3 years. We've changed that recently. I can't remember, but it used to be 2 years. I think it's now 3 years that it's good for. But anyway, do your medical screening. If you have some immunizations, by all means, put your immunizations in. I know the COVID is going to be a big immunization going forward this year. I'm sure FEMA's going to enforce that. And for years, it's always been also you need to have a tetanus. Everybody had to have that immunization. Beyond that, the immunizations will be a per event basis, depending on where you go. If you go down into Haiti or somewhere like that, some of these island countries, I don't know if Puerto Rico required it or not, but you may have to have a hepatitis vaccine. That's a series of shots, the twin Ricks and Hep A. They go together, but just put your immunizations in. It used to be that we had the nurses do that, and we don't have nurses all over USA, so that's not really applicable anymore. The nurses still have a role in this, and if you get a shot at the site, like if you deploy downrange somewhere and you don't have a tetanus, they're going to give you a tetanus shot, and then the nurse will come in and update their information for you. That's why you see the immunization provided by USACE. Any questions on the medical? PHA, this is position hazard analysis. I'll let everybody know right now, if you are going to deploy somewhere, you're going to an area that's usually been devastated to some degree, and you may come in contact with dangerous items. There could be broken limbs, broken debris everywhere, housing materials that are broken, glass, boards, nails, roofing shingles. There could be some incineration going on, which puts a lot of smoke and dust in the air. There could be some toxic chemicals around. You may be exposed to all of that. So what we want you to do is read through this. Look, be honest with you, this is the Corps' CYA. They want you to be aware that you're going to an area where there's dangerous stuff. And I think most of you realize that. But anyway, you can read through here some things you may come in contact with, including insects, bites. There could be dangerous reptiles. There's snakes and alligators in the south that will bite you. But anyway, you read through all of this, and when you get through, down at the bottom, there will be a section where you check that, hey, I've read it, I understand, And as soon as you check that, it will sign you saying that you've agreed to your PHA, and it's good for 2 years. And so you do need to have a PHA, position hazard analysis, on file for each of you. Any questions on this? And the other stuff is important. I'm just not going to go through it today, but I would encourage you all to go through that and update your personal data sheet to the best that you can do it, as much as you can. More data is always helpful. And we're not just collecting data to collect it. There are reasons for it. Some of these other ones, skills and experience. Many of you have come to the Corps of Engineers and you have backgrounds in other areas before you got to the Corps. You may have been in construction. You may have been a truck driver, or you may have operated heavy equipment. That kind of stuff is important to us here at ENGLink, because there are times where we'll have a tasker request, a request for personnel, where it's very specified. We need somebody that can drive a bulldozer, or we need somebody that can operate a backhoe. And those are not typical duty descriptions. And what we'll do, we'll look into the system, try to find people that can match that duty description. If we can't, then we will tell ENGLink to look at the other skills and experiences that people have and try to identify people that way. Okay? But this is ENGLink Plus, and as I said, the primary purpose of it is for your personal data sheet. You'll see, if you were on the power team, you'd come in here to do power. If you're a doctor, you would come and do medical reviews. If you're a nurse, you could do immunizations. So the rest of this stuff is not really applicable to you. Taskers, we've been working on this. I hadn't looked at this in a while. Let me check it real quick. This will keep up with your tasker history. And so if you're on a tasker currently, you can come in and look at this. You can see I was on this tasker at one point. And this is a history of your tasker. This was your deployment information sheet, and different things on there. So we made that very difficult to get to, but now you just come to Plus and you can go to your look at your tasker history. Contact us if you want to contact ENGLink. This is where you go. By all means, follow us on Facebook. We also have a Twitter, but I don't keep Twitter updated very often. But we do update Facebook during the course of an event. We'll put pictures and notifications out there. So make sure, I don't put it on here, but we do have a Facebook page. So go like us on Facebook. We'll like you back. Okay, and like I told you, I am videoing this course. So once we get finished, I'll make the video available for you guys. And if you guys want to watch it later on, you can do so.